What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, continuing my deep dive into Bob Dylan and the band's box set, the 1974 live recordings. Um, Pulling the discs out as I go through them, so we're getting smaller and smaller here, fewer and fewer. We now are talking about 15 and 16 today. Two shows from here in Texas, Houston, Texas. January 26, 1974, we have the afternoon show. I don't know if that's the actual arena. That's a lot of people in Houston. Um, and then the evening show. Um, and these are both absolutely fantastic. These are like top tier in this box set so far. Um, these are the 26th of January. The first shows were the 3rd. So we're, several weeks into the tour by now. We were reaching a point the last couple shows where Dylan's voice was really, he was just screaming, it seems, just to like make it through the songs. We still have a little bit of that in these shows, but we also have a lot of moments where it seems like he's reeling it in and he's kind of a little more like focused and honed in and not as like in your face over the top. And then like he'll have songs where he's exactly in your face and over the top and doing a lot of weird things vocally and you're just like unpredictable in what he's doing. But he's mixing it up really well. But I would say the best thing about these shows is the energy in both of these is fantastic. Not really sure what was in the water in Houston, but whatever it was, they're responding to it. I would say that it's just humidity that's in the water. I don't even think they have water in Houston. It's just pure humidity. You pull it out of the air and drink it. But January is not as humid as the rest of the year. So maybe there was something special. I don't know. The exact same show in set list. So didn't mix it up, unfortunately, even though these are afternoon and evening shows. The main thing that's probably different from the rest of the tour is that number 4 slot, which is getting a lot of different songs throughout the tour, that 4-5 slot. It's Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35, which is exactly where Rainy Day Women, number 12 and number 35 belongs or should be. Works really well with the flow of the show. You get like the opening, Most Likely You'll Go Your Way, which is this really driven, intense dose of energy, this burst of energy to open the show. And even though Lay Lady Lay and just like Tom Thumb's Blues have really good energy also, they are almost this little dip in that they're trying to do slightly different things. Lay Lady Lay is naturally a calmer song, just like Tom Thumb's Blues has maybe a little more variety in the verses. But then song number 4, we get back to that just pure energy, that pure drive of Rainy Day, and it just kind of propels us to the rest of the opening electric set. But I guess the difference in these two shows, I mean, the set lists are the same, so we're really just going for performances. But from start to finish, the first show, the January 26th show, it's just perfect. They're just hitting it all just perfectly. And like the analogy I kind of, as I'm listening to this, the opening Most Likely You Go Your Way just comes out like it's a train that's already got momentum, and when the song starts we're just like joining it momentum. The visual I actually had in my mind was Mad Max Fury Road, and just them like coming across the desert with just all these like the band is all these like vehicles just going through, and maybe Robertson's the guy on the guitar, strapped to the front just ripping off these licks. It's an image I've used a lot lately, the Mad Max Fury Road one, but I think it really works with this. And it really almost seems like the electric set, the first 9 songs, which in both shows is Most Likely, Lay Lady Lay, Tom Thumbs, Rainy Day, It Ain't Me, Ballad of a Thin Man, Watchtower, Ballad of Hollis Brown, Knocking on Heaven's Door. It seems like this is really all just one long rolling. If there's a word that I would pick for this, it's rolling. Like I have this theory that Dylan just tells the band a word or writes it on a chalkboard or does something, and the band has to interpret that musically. The word is rolling. It seems like they're just rolling towards this destination. And the destination in this case is the acoustic set. And once they get to the acoustic set in the middle, which in both shows is The Times They Are Changing, Don't Think Twice, Gates of Eden, Just Like a Woman, It's All Right Ma. That's the whole purpose of the journey. The whole purpose of the electric journey is sort of to get to this destination. Once they get to this destination, Bob gets on this like pedestal, gets out his guitar, plays these acoustic songs perfectly. The first show, the rolling energy of the electric set, the performance of the acoustic set is absolutely perfect. It seems like Dylan really understands these 5 songs, like the ebb and flow of these 5 songs, and the flow, the balance, the dynamic, the way they kind of lend each other energy, and times they are changing leads really well into Don't Think Twice, which gives Gates of Eden this like a little more urgency. Like the balance is absolutely perfect in these songs. And then the closing 4 songs almost seems like an after party. Like, hey, before we head back to wherever we came from, let's just get together and have a good time. So you get Forever Young, Something There Is About You, Like a Rolling Stone, and Most Likely You Go Your Way. Everything about this show on the 26th is just impeccably played. Highlights: Rainy Day Women, Robbie is fantastic. The energy is fantastic. This is exactly where this song needs to be. The 2 ballads, Thin Man and Hollis Brown, which are usually, I think, the highlights of any particular set, definitely aren't as menacing as they have been in previous shows, but the band just sounds so locked in, and the momentum is so good, and there's a little bit of swagger. It's not this sort of evil, menacing, like darkness of the lyrics swagger, like the existential darkness of Thin Man or the storytelling darkness of Hollis Brown. It's more of just like, we got this, man. We're just going to perform the heck out of this. We're a well-oiled machine at this point. We're all feeling good. Let's just go out there and just provide Bob the best musical accompaniment ever. So I wouldn't say either one of those performances are the best versions of those songs, but put together with all the other electric set, it's just perfect. And in both of these shows, Knocking on Heaven's Door feels like almost a step down energy-wise, and really does seem like the logical conclusion to the electric set before we go into the acoustic set. The acoustic set is just perfect on the first show, on the afternoon show. It's just a perfect performance of all of these. Bouncy, really great spirits, like both Don't Think Twice and Just Like a Woman almost feel like I'm hearing them for the first time. That's how involved in the lyrics, how involved in the vocals Dylan is. The harmonica solo in Just Like a Woman is fantastic. Gates of Eden, Dylan is loud and proud and confident and knows that what he has to say is important. And then it just all kind of comes together in a really focused and intense, It's All Right Mom, Only Bleeding. And then for the closing, we get a really nice Forever Young that kind of starts off kind of chill before Bob just like starts aiming for the rafters as far as his vocal performance goes. Kind of a low-key musical one that lets Bob just shine vocally. Something There Is About You, Robbie's rhythm work is fantastic. Like a Rolling Stone, probably one of the best intros so far. The energy in the intro, it almost doesn't sound like a Rolling Stone. Has this very almost uplifting, very grand, big, almost like a crowd-pleasing vibe. Like a Rolling Stone's a good thing to be, and the crowd's behind them. Amazing energy. The piano is fantastic. And then we close out with just an absolutely phenomenal, Most Likely You Go Your Way. That doesn't sound, it sounds like the band doesn't want to end. It sounds like with this Most Likely, they're getting back on this train or back into this caravan that opened the show, and they're going to head back to where they started from. We don't get to join them because it's the end of the show, but it doesn't sound tired. It doesn't sound like it's the end of a show. It just sounds like, hey, we got lots of energy. We're going. Stick around, come back for the evening show. It's just an absolutely phenomenal show. The one in the evening is not much different. I would say the one in the evening, the electrical part of this, the first 9 songs, might just be perfect. It is, the flow is perfect. The energy is perfect. Everything feeds off every other song perfectly. Bob comes out in the Most Likely You Go Your Way and sounds confident. The band sounds clean almost and streamlined and just like really honed in and focused. But then the Lay Lady Lay, the band sounds good. Bob is all over the map vocally. He's repeating lines, like repeating syllables at the end of lines. He's really drawing out vowels. He's kind of hamming it up, but the energy is good and it kind of works. Then we get just like Tom Thumbs. Robbie's giving it kind of a different vibe. He's doing some like really like kind of fast trilling early on to give it this weird, almost like acousticy weird vibe, like you're sitting on the porch playing this. And Dylan's vocals are once again a little bit calmer, not as crazy as they were in Lay Lady Lay. But then as the song goes on, but Robbie gets more intense in his playing, kind of feeds Dylan. And then we go into Rainy Day Women, and it's just the energy from the opening song. It's just like picked up again, and we're just like focused and we're off. It Ain't Me, Babe really benefits from the Rainy Day energy that preceded it. The Ballad of a Thin Man is a little fast in the beginning. The opening piano dun 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 feels a little more up tempo, kind of a little more interesting, a little more friendly. It just seems like Dylan's lines are no longer this warning, but feel more like friendly advice. Like it just has this way more upbeat, positive vibe than most of the Ballad of a Thin Man's. And then we get an incredibly aggressive All Along the Watchtower. Robbie is nailing the guitar energy. He's like bending some strings early and just kind of like tweaked, like squeezing these notes out early. His solos are fantastic. Kind of ferocious. Probably the one word I would maybe use to describe this is ferocious. This All Along the Watchtower is ferocious. Not everything in this set is ferocious. The Ballad of a Thin Man was not ferocious, but all of the different energies of this complement each other well. And then the Ballad of Hollis Brown is funky. It's got swagger. It's kind of this like folk rock funk beast. Like Ballad of Hollis Brown is like the opening most likely brings the good energy. Then just like Tom Thumb's Blues is kind of tweaking the energy, really good. Rainy Day hones it and concentrates it again. And then Thin Man is kind of playing with it, but making it positive. All Along the Watchtower gets ferocious. Hollis Brown gets funky. And then we end up the electric set with this kind of calmer Knocking on Heaven's Door. Once again, we kind of bring things down just gently enough to be like, hey, we're done for a while. We're going to take a break. Bob's going to go back and do some acoustic stuff. The rest of the show just kind of falls into average territory. It almost seems like all this incredible energy they had for the first show, the first half of this show, maybe they're getting tired at this point. Maybe there is humidity, because we do still have humidity here in January. You don't want to drink too much of it. The acoustic set just seems like really 5 really well-performed acoustic songs. Same songs as the first show, but they don't seem quite as cohesive. They don't seem to like feed off each other as well as they did in that first show. They're just really solid performances of each song. And then the closing 4 songs also just kind of feel like really solid performances of those 4 songs. They're not bad in any way, shape, or form, but they don't seem to have that little indescribable it that the first show has. But it's still a really, really good listen and makes for, heck, if you were in Houston on these days and you went to both these shows, yeah, it would have been the same set list, but you would have had a good time at both. These are 2 I'm excited to go back and revisit once I get through the rest of the set. These were both Texas. You did Texas well. As a guy who's lived in Texas now for more than half my life, I'm good that we're getting the good music. Where would I rank these among the other ones that I've already done? Putting that Houston one up at number 5. That's a pretty good ranking so far. That means it's right above the bouncy Boston. And then I have the other one right at 7. The afternoon at 5, the evening at 7. Just because those first 9 songs, this might be the best from start to finish, consistent performance of those 9 songs. They seem cohesive. The energy just seems to make sense as we go from song to song, and it varies a little bit, but it just all, like they're trying a whole bunch of different flavors. The words I had for the second one were big, like Texas big, just go Texas big. And it seems like as they change the energy in each song, they're going for really big, grand versions of that. like Ballad of a Thin Man, positive, but let's go big positive. Ballad of Hollis Brown, funky, but let's go big funky. There's a bigness to that electric set that maybe kind of overwhelms him for the rest of the show because it's good, but just can't live up to that first part. But yeah, so I have these pretty high up in the top half. So this is some pretty good middle of the box, middle of the tour, really nice surprises. But yeah, that's what I got for these two. We're more than halfway through this box set now. Take a little break on the tour, and then we end up in New York City. New York City, I believe, is where we end up next. Or is it Seattle? It's one that's either one of those corners. Where do we go next? Yeah, we go to New York City next. So we'll see what the Big Apple has, what Dylan and the band have for the Big Apple. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Go listen to Dylan. I'm rambling. Peace. Talk to you later.